Welcome back to Shotgun The Aux podcast. Today we are off across the pond, virtually, of course, checking in with our next guest from Los Angeles, California, originally from Essex. It's Quarantina Turner, aka Versus Bang. How you doing, man?
Hey, good, bro. You?
Yeah, man. You know, I mean, it's one of those questions, isn't it? You can't really answer it any other way, but you know,
In the house.
every day is the same.
House. Exactly. In your house 2021.
Exactly, man. Exactly, which is very apt considering the kind of theme of your new EP, The New Normal, which dropped a couple of weeks ago. And so you had like an accompanying video, and I've got to say I'm really fucking annoyed at myself for missing the boat because you messaged me, I think, a couple of days before the video dropped when you were editing it all.
with the masks.
Yeah.
And that. Yeah, that's all right, man. There's a I thought for that video, I know it's so simple. Obviously it's got to be simple. We've all got to work with what we've got right now, and obviously with that video, I know it's it might not necessarily be the most creative, but I thought it's pretty effective. It does the job. And there was certain people, the way that video came about, I literally just put it on my Instagram story. Like, if anyone wants to do videos, take your mask on or off, just send clips. But there was a few people that I've been speaking to anyway, and because we've been in contact about doing this interview, that's why I said to you, obviously, if you fancy doing it. But there's as many people that have messaged me after it came out saying I should have done it as there was in it. Literally, I think I got 50 people sent me clips. I ended up using 45 of them. And then I reckon I probably had maybe not 50, but I've had at least 20, 30 messages, people saying it. So I'm going to try and think of something else which can include other people, because I've got a short list now of people that I can obviously use in future videos.
Yeah, man, for sure. I mean, I know how hard it is kind of reacting to messages and kind of, you know, getting back to people. Because obviously we're doing a contest at the moment, so...
Been watching it.
Mate, it was the qualifying round just popped off, and logistically it was a fucking nightmare, but we managed to make it work. But I can feel your pain, man. But
it's hard enough having to rely on yourself, isn't it? When you have to start relying on other people and waiting on people, and it's a nightmare, isn't it?
Yeah,
fucking
man.
Human beings, eh?
Yeah, exactly. We're a weird bunch for sure. But whereabouts in LA are you based, man? Because we spoke. I think we actually first got in contact like over a year ago. Because I mentioned I went there with my wife on our honeymoon, and we stayed near like Sunset Boulevard, and we were talking about it because you were.
Oh, that was you. I remember that was you. I literally remember that message now. It was because you'd said about where you'd stayed, and it was probably 5 minutes away from where I live in like Hollywood, West Hollywood.
Mad.
Yeah, could literally not quite, but could almost look out the window and see sunset. It's literally like I could walk up to Sunset now. It's a 2-minute walk up. I'm not going to start giving my address away online, but it ain't far from Sunset, man. Literally like 2 minutes away.
Yeah, man. Are you like based there like permanently now? You get your residency and stuff?
Yeah.
Sick.
That's it, yeah. Living now, yeah. It's been what's the date today? The 10th. In 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, I'd have been here a year, which is fucking mental, considering the day before I came, I was walking up and down Southend High Street trying to find hand sanitizer because I'd seen this thing in the news. People had started mentioning about this germ that was going around, and I started trying to find hand sanitizer. And even then, in February, late February, early March, the hand sanitizer was starting to sell out. And I was thinking, bloody hell, I only want to clean my hands on an aeroplane. And I remember when I got to the airport in London, I posted a picture on Instagram. And it was a picture of me in the toilet, in the bathroom, like a selfie in the mirror in the Heathrow toilets. And I posted saying I'm going to LA to battle the coronavirus. And obviously I just thought it was not a big joke, but it was a bit of one of those things that would be a passing memory. Mm-hmm. A year later, obviously I haven't left the country and we're still in it.
That's crazy, man. I think, it's crazy how like much has happened, but also how little in a year, you know. I was just chatting to the missus a minute ago about just going out just for a sit-down meal, like back in February of last year, like on our anniversary. And it was just like, what was life back then, man? Do you know what I mean? Crazy.
Yeah. I
So,
watch you watch things now, don't you? You see things like, even with football, when I see clips, or I watch back my old videos on my phone of like when I filmed like going West Ham and whatever, and you see the crowd, and I hate saying it, but it's almost like you look at the crowd and I can't imagine it anymore. 60,000 people that close to each other, and you see everyone sitting there. And like, I watched West Ham played Man United in the FA Cup yesterday, and there was a BBC, they put up like a 20-minute video of previous times we've met each other in the FA Cup. And I'd been to quite a few of the games, and I was looking, and it's just crazy when you see people that close to each other, which is a given, isn't it? It's life. Obviously, we go to concerts, we go to sporting events, and now you wonder. I do wonder, will it ever go back to that?
I know, man. It's weird. I mean, it permeates into everything, like you were saying. Like, even watching films and stuff with scenarios where people just like walk into each other's houses, or like, you know, they're grouped together. You just can't relate to it anymore. You know,
You not
just
think in your head, like, it's so depressing saying this, but I think in my head, my wife said it months and months ago. She said, I've been watching it now thinking, why aren't they wearing a mask? And I was thinking the same thing, like, he needs to step back a bit. He's too close to him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then you realise it's actually a film, and it was made 32 years ago, before coronavirus was around.
Oh, mate, it's madness. But I mean, the new normal bringing us on. Nice segue into the EP, man. So obviously, like, that dropped a couple of weeks ago, and I've got to say, like, it is, pun intended, it fucking bangs. Like,
I appreciate it, man.
and what I noticed is, and I don't know whether it's because you're based in the States, but do you think that living in the States has kind of an impact on your style? Because listening to it, you get a bit of you know, obviously going back to your previous works, you've always played around with different genres, and there's always been like trap element to it.
Yeah.
But it just sounds so kind of polished, and it brings both sides of your personality out. So obviously you kind of your Essex roots, and then emigrating over to the States. There's some really, really good stuff in there.
No, I appreciate that. I think wherever you are, whatever headspace you're in, whatever kind of energy you have, or your mind state or whatever at the time, I think for me anyway, when I write, I only write about how I feel and what I think. I'm not trying to think of being a character, if that makes any sense. And I'm not sitting down when I write a verse and thinking what rhymes with what. That's not like my thought process isn't what can I rhyme with what. It's more like, how do I feel? What do I think? What do I want to say? It's not about finding a word that rhymes with a word and how can I get this rhyme scheme with that rhyme scheme. It's literally, it's a bit more natural than that. I think like it's just about how I feel and what I'm going through and whatever's on my mind. And it wouldn't be right. It wouldn't have been right for last year to have gone by without me making a new body of work. And B, it wouldn't have been right, I don't think, for me to have not acknowledged the fact that, like, I'm moved. Do you know what I mean? I'm no longer living in England. I'm living in America. B, I'm married. Like, my reality's obviously changed a lot.
Yeah.
Not to say that I'm no longer depressed or I'm no longer going through the things that I used to go through, because your brain, you can obviously move around, but your brain it doesn't change too much. I'm still the same person, so I'm choking up. I'm crying. I'm getting so emotional. I'm crying. Yeah, I think that you can tell that I'm in a bit of a different space when you listen to the music. But even still, even saying that as well, I never try to consciously make UK hip hop. I think a lot of rappers try to consciously make, it's got to have that UK sound. And whether they're trying to, like, I'm not saying it to anyone directly, but whether you're trying to sound like a lot of people years and years ago when I first started, just wanted to try and emulate like Task Force. And even if they were from bloody, wherever they were from in the country, they were still trying to have that accent. Do you know what I mean? Regardless of where you were from, even if you lived in like the countryside or if you lived in Wales or wherever, and then they're coming and they're trying to sound like that.
Because you reference it in your song, don't you? You say, like, I'm from Essex, not from London, so I don't talk like that.
Yeah. Like, what I don't understand, like, because it was years ago, people used to try and talk like, yeah, man, do you know what I mean? Like, and try and speak, not even rapping, just in everyday dialogue, like putting on a fake accent. And even now, to this day, like 2021, people are still doing it, and it's just, it's so fucking played out. Do you know what I mean? Like, however you are, like, you should be. I think when you make music, if you're trying to be somebody else, then it's not really natural. I think when you meet someone, especially online as well, a lot of people have another thing I say is about online demeanors. Like in that same track you're talking about on Courtside Jack, like certain people can be like so confident and so there's nothing wrong with being confident, but they could be so confident or arrogant or aggressive or whatever it is
Yeah.
online, and then you meet them in real life and shit don't add up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's the one
man.
thing that's the one thing I take pride in. You know, that's the one thing I take pride in. If you listen to my music or if you look at my Instagram page, or you think that cunt likes to pose a little bit, doesn't he? I do like to pose a little
Consistent.
bit.
It's
That's
consistent.
it. Yeah, this moustache didn't just happen by itself. Do you know what I mean?
No, man. I was going to say, in Courtside Jack, you do address quite a few of those topics, and another one as well, which kind of resonated because I talk about it quite a lot on the podcast anyway with other artists, is that people who were like asking to collaborate with you weren't showing love when you dropped the tracks. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like things happening behind the scenes, but there isn't a level of kind of mutual reciprocation when it comes to showing love for music. I don't know what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
I don't know if it's like a British sensibility or or if it's just a
You
rapper
saying
thing.
it
I
makes
don't.
you saying it makes me think that if you've obviously experienced it and that as well, then maybe it is just a British thing. I always wondered if it was just a Southend thing or an Essex thing, but it's obviously a lot of people have a very toxic energy, and unless someone can benefit directly from something, they don't really want to know. And I think especially with the internet and social media as well, people can go online and see someone else has done something, and that's what makes them think, oh, I've got to do something. They're not being motivated by himself or energized by himself or even feeling that bit of creativity in himself. It's not because they've felt it or because they feel a need to address something or the need to achieve something. It's more because they've seen something online like, oh, if he's doing it, I've got to do it, or why is he doing it? Like, we've all got an even playing field, especially with social media and the internet. We can all reach people from our own homes, and sometimes it's just about doing it. You know, it's not like I've got a massive fan base. It's not like I'm worldwide famous. It's not like I'm getting money as such. I might get a little bit, but it's not like I'm making a living off of it or anything. But it's down to me to make something happen. If I don't do it, if I don't write that song, if I don't go out and shoot that video or get photos for the cover or decide what all of the tracks are going in, things that don't even go through a lot of people's minds, it doesn't happen by itself, you know. And it's just I think a lot of people feel negative towards other people and resentful. And I think a lot of it is as well people being reminded like I ain't doing shit, you know,
Yeah,
like
man.
I ain't doing shit. Like I'm I claim to be a rapper or I claim to be a producer or I claim to be a whatever it is, a dancer. Do you know what I mean? Whatever it is, a chef. I claim to be this and that, but I'm not doing it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not writing, I'm not recording, I'm not singing, I'm not cooking. I'm not what do you know what I mean? I don't know
Yeah, I
what
hear
the
you,
fuck I'm
man.
talking about with a chef and a cooking comparison, but whatever it is, do you know what I mean? If you want to do it, then do it.
Yeah, man. I think it's a really good point. And I mean, I'm not a rapper. I'm not an artist. Obviously, being impartial is kind of like an advantage I have doing this because like I'm a consumer of the music. Like I appreciate the music, so I like to talk to like-minded people about it. But I was naive to all of this kind of stuff going on behind the scenes before we started this podcast. So talking to artists how they deal with business behind the scenes, you know all of these obstacles that they face on day to day and these kinds of energies. So
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting hearing kind of similarities in stories and different takes, but there always seems to be like a constant when it comes to that kind of attitude.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I don't know whether it's kind of a British thing because,
Part of me
or
thinks it is. A part of me
yeah,
thinks it is, man. People can't bear to see anyone trying as well. It's all well and good when you've got like, it's all well and good when you're on a bloody stage winning an award and you're doing your speech and you've got hundreds of thousands of people telling other people, oh, I knew him, I went to school with him. Once I gave him a hand job out the back of the car wash. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's got a story once you get somewhere, but no one likes to see anyone trying, which I find it weird because you'd think someone trying to make something happen when they've not really got the backing financially or in any sense, but they're still being persistent. To me, that's pretty commendable. Not just
Yeah,
speaking for myself, because I am proud of myself and I'm proud of my persistence, and I'm proud of the fact that for as many years as I've been making music, I've been writing songs that I relate to because it's me. I've been writing songs because I feel a certain way. I've been writing songs or making videos or creating or putting out merchandise because it's what I want to do, not because I saw someone else do it and think, oh, it's actually my time. Actually, if he's doing it, I should do it. So, yeah, I don't know, man. There's definitely a massive negative undertone with people, and I do think that that is a lot of it. I think a lot of it is people feel a bit bitter or resentful at being reminded that I'm not doing shit. Do you know what I mean? I haven't tried. I ain't even trying.
for
And
sure, man.
in 10 years' time, do you know what I mean? When I look back, because I can't still be making music. Well, I can be, but
Yeah, you
it's a
can.
bit,
If you
yeah,
want to
I
be,
can
if you want to
be.
be doing it, though, that's it.
That's
It's all
it.
down to you, isn't it?
62, gonna be 62 years old, bringing out my first vinyl. Um, but yeah, like at least when I look back, I can know like it's more than tried because it's even though it isn't really trying because I'm doing it. Do you know what I mean? Regardless of success, regardless of acknowledgements or whatever it may be that you want to try and get, regardless of anything, there is that product there. Do you know what I mean? I've got a back catalogue, and that music can be listened to in 20 years. Whether people listen to it or not, I'm not saying that people will, but that music's there, and as cringe as it might sound, people can't take that away from it. Do you know what I mean? If you've done that, it's
100%,
there.
man. I think as well. I mean, if anyone's listening to this interview and are not, familiar with you or your music, I urge you to go check it out. I mean, like all the way back from kind of Dress to Kill myself, Versace rings and chest pains, cardigans and calories. Was that out on? You were signed to Wordplay Records, right?
Yeah, yeah. Briefly, it was Troll Gang, Oozhe, Scrabble, and myself, and basically, that was obviously they're a successful magazine, UK hip hop publication. They've obviously been up and running for years, and I think they were going to have a try into going into like the record label side of things, and it was pretty sick, just to even be asked and to be approached by them, like because I've been doing it for years, and I literally thought that in itself is a slight bit of acknowledgement. Do you know what I mean? A
Hmm.
slight sense of acknowledgement to have been approached and to have been asked to be their first artists. And Cardigans and Calories came out on Wordplay, but I think with everything that happened, not just with the lockdown, but also just social media, and there's always competitions and there's always things that need to be done. I kind of feel like they decided they've got unfinished business in the publication side of things, and they need to be a bit more focused with the magazine before they're really ready to go into an actual record company.
Yeah.
So it might have not had much longevity, our relationship in that sense, but at the same time, do you know what I mean? It's still an experience. It was yeah, Cardigans and Calories come out on there, and Scrabble's latest album that come out on Wordplay Records as well. Um, Obviously I'm back to doing shit on my own now. But
Independently, man.
it was all independent anyway,
Yeah.
man. Like, do you know what I mean? Everything's hands on. There's anything I do or anything you see, it's literally come from me pretty much. Do you know what I mean? Like the one person that specifically helps me that I couldn't not mention is Oozhe, because not only has he produced like my last 4 or 5 releases from beginning to end, but just little things that people would never like even think about, like I need that beat extended because I've written an extra 8 bars at the end of a chorus, or I want the chorus before the verse starts. So can you change that for me and like restructure the beat? Even little things, man. Like even little things like cropping something or things that people would never go through. It's Ollie, like Oozhe, who I asked to do that. So he helps me with the finished product. But yeah, it's always been independent. It's a long fucking answer I've given you there, but I ain't on Wordplay
No.
Records anymore. The label's not really there, but they're still There's still a magazine, and they're still putting out magazines. Yeah.
No, man. The long answer was a response to a tangent that was my fault by putting that in there, because I was actually just directing people to your back catalogue because it's sick. That's the point I was trying to get
That's
across
right.
to.
Yeah.
But yeah, Oozhe's production on the new normal is ridiculous, man. And I think it's just it's definitely got like a summertime like vibe to it as well, you know. And
Yeah. Especially the title track, like the new normal.
yeah,
You know, I think that track there definitely got a bit of a summer feel to it.
100%, man. And I mean, we
Video
talked.
coming out for that this Friday, by the way. I don't know when this interview's coming out, so this interview might be out after that. But the video is coming out on Friday, the 12th of February.
So it'll probably be out at that point. So go and check that out. But I mean, Courtside Jack, you reference as you do often, and I know obviously you're quite like a colourful character. You're often like kind of donning tops with t-shirts with like obscure TV personalities and cartoon characters and wrestlers on. And there's a bar in it where you say, if this was the Attitude Era, I'd break your heart like a diva. You can't see me like Cena. So I've got to ask you, man, I'm going to put to you 2 wrestling-based questions.
Yeah.
Question 1, who is your favourite wrestler?
Fucking hell. I had a feeling. I didn't know if you was going to ask. I had a feeling you might ask this question. And it's like asking your favourite rapper, isn't it? I don't know. I'll give you... I can't give you one. For childhood reasons, like a real hero when you're a kid, when you look at these larger than life characters, was the Ultimate Warrior. Whenever I saw him coming down the aisle or hearing his music and seeing him grab the ropes, do you know what I mean? That was my childhood memory. I always loved the Ultimate Warrior. But other than that, Ultimate Warrior, not from from an in-ring perspective, Owen Hart, Brian Pillman, Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner. There you go. That's 4 for you there.
Damn, man. So,
yeah.
Next question. What is your favourite match in history? If you had to pick one.
Don't know. There's the Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels ladder match. That's obviously a bit of a generic answer, I know, but that comes to mind. And then, I don't know, Bret Hart against British Bulldog, SummerSlam 92. I was there, 7 years old.
Jeez,
My mum and dad took me. Jan and Brian Jarvis took me. So big the fuck up to my mum and dad for making that memory happen.
That's crazy. That's
Bret
crazy.
Hart and British Bulldogs definitely up there, yeah.
I think you're a couple of years older than me, but I mean, mine. I just loved fucking Buried Alive match, Undertaker, Mankind. That's my shit, man. Mankind's just one of those wrestlers that I always rooted for. He was just such like an underdog personality.
Yeah.
Did you watch that? I know it's come out on Netflix again recently, but that old documentary, Beyond the Mat.
Yeah. Well, I was mind blown when I first saw that. I mean, the one thing that sticks with me about that is all I hear is the words Beyond the Mat, and all I think of is how fucked up Jake the Snake's life was. That's one of the main things I took from that.
It's bleak.
But yeah, even like Buried Alive match, like that, all them pay-per-views, all that era back then, man. Like Triple H is the sickest champion as a heel, I think, because obviously the heels, the bad guys, a lot of the things, the big storyline is bad guys and heels are cheats and they win by breaking the rules. Triple H fucked people up fairly in title matches, one-on-one. He was getting the 3 count by doing the pedigree, not by cheating. Like, he is the game. The game is one of the sickest heel champions, I think.
Yeah, man. I think it's just from that era where you're so invested in it, you believe what's going on, and it's kind of I guess it is pre-internet as well. So like the mystery where you think, oh yeah, the Undertaker and Kane, of course they're related. Paul Bearer, of course he's their dad. Like, why would they lie for entertainment? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like a few years ago I was just like, Paul Bearer, and it blew my mind because I was so
invested. Yeah, you don't even look outside it. It's like, that's his name.
Yeah, exactly.
That's his birthplace. Parts unknown. Oh, he was from Parts Unknown. I know that. It's just outside of Texas.
Yeah, man. The Ministry of Darkness, like Edge and Christian and Gangrel. Jesus Christ. It's good times. Good memories.
I can't let you mention that name without me bringing it up. I once had the fucking funkiest dream. Once I had a dream that me and Gangrel were walking down Southend High Street. Just the two of us walking down Southend High Street, spitting blood at people. I remember waking up the next day and literally phoning up my brother and said, I just had the weirdest dream about me and Gangrel. Anyway.
Oh Christ, man, that's mad. But like back to kind of LA and the music and everything else. There's something I'm kind of interested in from like an outsider perspective. Living in America now, how do US heads take to your music? And what's kind of the general view, just from your perspective at least, on kind of UK hip hop and UK rap over in the States right now?
A lot of people that have listened to my music over here, weirdly enough, I feel like they kind of like it because when they hear me talk, they kind of expect it to be like what you rap, and they might not really expect it. And then when they hear it and they realise, I'm not tooting my own horn, but they realise, oh, we actually can rap for a start. And then also like the production side of it, it's not a bedroom sound, if that makes any sense. I'm not being arrogant, but I'm not making bedroom music. And I feel like it's largely a very positive reaction. Like, oh, I never realised. I think people over here are a bit more open to it. Like if they was to hear an English person rap or an Australian person rap and realise like there is similarities, and I'm not trying to be American. I'm not trying to have an American accent, and people I think do appreciate that. I think that UK music, I can't say UK rap because a lot of it I don't think is rap as such. But the UK artists that are known over here that people kind of would recognise as UK artists are like Skepta, Gigs. Unfortunately, it's not unfortunate because of the artist, but it's more unfortunate because the reason why a lot of these artists are reaching over here isn't because people have gone and found them. It's more because of Drake's cosign, you know, like because if Drake worked with someone, obviously it's good for them, but it'd also be sick if people started looking into artists themselves. It's more than just Skepta and Gigs. There is other artists, but like Slow Tire. I went to Camp Flognor, Tyler the Creators Festival at the end of 2019, and everyone there knew Slow Tire's lyrics and were going mad. And I mean, don't get me wrong, he's obviously done songs with bigger artists. Recently, he had a song with A$AP Rocky and that. But
yeah, Denzel as well, Denzel Curry, and what's the one that came out with Skepta yesterday? I think.
Oh, I see that they had a new video come out.
Cancelled, I think it was called. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's mad how he's blown up, though. Do you know what I mean? It's fair play to the guy. I mean, but it's just it seems to be just like a very like small minority of artists who really blow up over there.
Yeah, I do think 99% of the time it is literally, not saying with everyone, not even necessarily with him, but 99% of the time it is because of if you're featured on a track or someone's featured on your track. It's not just America, I guess it's anywhere. People are so impressionable that once you've obviously been heard on something, then people will go and look into it. It's just about getting people to obviously want to listen to you in the first place, I guess.
I guess as well, there's kind of two perspectives. Like there's the general listening public, and then there's artists themselves. So, say for example, you talked about Tyler. Obviously, Slow Tie was on his album like Igor uncredited, wasn't he, on that track?
Yeah.
So I get the impression someone like Tyler would have listened out for an artist like Slow Tie. Do you know what I mean? Like from an artist perspective, I don't think there are any real parameters like that in any medium, whether it be music or like film or TV, you know, anything like that. But it's I guess it's just a luck of the draw who gets discovered that way.
Yeah,
You know
that's it. You never know who's going to hear you. You know, obviously it helps if you've got an audience already for people to discover you, but it's the power of the internet, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, man, it's mad. It's mad. But I mean, obviously we talked about you being from Essex originally, Troll Gang. But what got you into rap initially? When did it all start for you? Was there like an artist that got you into it, or a seminal record?
100% because of my brother, Gutter, from Southend as well. My older brother. He rapped before I did and made music before I did. he bought an MPC before I knew what an MPC was, an MPC 2000. He started making his own beats, and he brought out an EP. I don't even know what year it was. It might have been like 2000, 2001. Maybe 2001 rings a bell. And he brought out an EP completely self-produced, self-recorded, literally self-recorded. He pushed the record button. He did everything himself, and he brought it out and he had it on CD, and it was sold like in shops locally. And before then, I'd already started to put words together a little bit. But when I saw that he self-produced a CD himself, and I was the realization that I can fucking do it. Do you know what I mean? You could put out music, regardless of that, whether it reaches 6 people or 6 million people, can still put out music. And yeah, it's because of my brother. It's literally because of my brother I started rapping. It's because of my brother that I started listening to rap before that. My first album came out when I was 18 or 19, 17 years ago now. It was called Focused. It was produced by my brother. Yeah, like 17 years ago, I brought that CD out, and that was on Gutter Records, which I still represent to this day. I'd never put any kind of music out without putting my brother's name on it, because, like I said, like he is responsible for me even starting to write. But yeah, man, that's what made me start.
Wicked, man. That's crazy. 17 years ago. But I mean, from someone who digests hip hop music and listens to it, did you come through listening to like most people? You got into hip hop, like the American stuff, and then find UK stuff later down the line?
Yeah. I a lot of the stuff I had was like through listening to my brother's stuff. He used to he had one friend who we used to go and stay around his house, and they had Sky, and we never had Sky, and he had MTV, and he used to watch MTV Yo Raps, and because it was in England, it was only televised at like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m, and he'd come home and then he'd find the songs and whatever, and I remember that whatever I liked is whatever he liked, I would end up listening to. And then what I remember, the first few things I had on constant rotation that I listened to was Cypress Hill, Black Sunday, Mobb Deep, Peer Pressure. It's not one of their most well-known songs, but Mobb Deep's song Peer Pressure, I always remember I loved that song. What else was there? I don't know. I remember Onyx Back the Fuck Up. I had Onyx Back the Fuck Up way too young. I should not have been listening to that then. Me and man. Jack, the Black Vagina Finder. But yeah, I remember my brother used to go out. So I would have been around like literally 8 or 9 years old, and he would have been 12. He'd have been 12 and I'd have been 8 or 9. And he used to go out, and the second he went out the house, I'd go into his bedroom and I'd put on Cypress Hill, Black Sunday, and play Mario Kart on his Super Nintendo. And I literally just used to listen to it. On the cassette, it'd obviously go from one end, and then you'd have to turn it around to listen to the second half of the album on the other side of the cassette. But yeah, that's how I originally started listening to music, man, through my brother and Cypress Hill, Onyx, Mobb Deep. I can't think of, there's so many others, but my brain's gone blank. I remember he had like, Grave Diggers, the Alcoholics. And yeah, when I found out about UK hip hop a few years later, I didn't obviously realise. I was shocked, like listening to Rodney P and like London Posse and that. I thought, oh my god, like there's actual like UK rappers. And yeah, I remember I had London's Burning. Is that what it was called? London's Burning, with a picture of the newspaper on the front cover.
Yeah.
I think it was London Posse. I don't know if it was their first album or not, but yeah, I remember when I first listened to them, and obviously Rodney P's like thick London accent like coming through, and I thought this is fucking sick. They're not pretending to be American. But yeah, man.
Did you get into because I think with a lot of people I interview, they get into UK hip hop through entering the scene themselves, so becoming more like aware of what's happening, because obviously it's a very like more of a tight knit, smaller scene generally, with the exception of like very select few artists that everyone, they've got a bit of more, like Rodney P, for example, like Chester P, who are kind of kind of synonymous with it. So even if you don't necessarily listen to it or too deep into it, you might have heard their names mentioned.
Yeah.
But was that the case with you as well? Or did you become a fan of UK stuff before you started putting the music out? Or was it around the same time?
To be honest, I never ever listened to UK hip hop too much, and I kind of feel like that's always shown in my music as well. I don't hate it, obviously. I don't hate it, and I respect it, and I respect people that make music as well. Like anyone, wherever, however good or however shit you are, if you're having a go, then good luck to you. But I've never really listened to UK hip hop that much. I think in terms of even like the clothes that I wear, the way that I speak, the beats that I like, the production that I like. I never, not that I was trying to be American or anything. I just liked what I liked. And I think as a result of that, I've never really been part of any UK scene. Like in UK circle, people will know each other, people will work with each other, people might lick each other's asses. I've never been part of any circle, even an Essex scene. There was briefly an Essex scene years ago, and even then I weren't part of that scene, even though it was on my doorstep. There'd be local nights.
Was that like Ironbridge and that?
Ironbridge are from the same area as me, and I've worked with Gibber in the past. Like, I've done songs with Gibberish. I've featured on his stuff. He's featured on my stuff. He's worked with my brother before. But yeah, there was like a lot of nights that were put on, and like same artists would be asked to perform, or there'd be posse cuts, and people would appear on other people's tracks. And me and my brother were never really part of it. Not that I wanted to be part of it. Not that I'm saying that. I wasn't. I weren't really that bothered about it. Like when people were like, I guess the artists that come to mind were maybe like even Jest, for example. When everyone like was obviously everyone does still love Jest, but I'd rather listen to Dipset. Do you know what I mean? I'd literally rather listen to Dipset. Like that's just being honest. And it isn't because I think that I'm from Harlem. Even though I do think I don't think I'm from Harlem, but I just prefer it, man. I literally just prefer it, and
yeah,
it's not necessarily like it might not necessarily be as relatable, but at the same time, a lot of UK artists, it's not necessarily relatable. A lot of UK rappers rap about like violence and like different ways of. Obviously, my brother loves battle rap, and that's his style. So. Not anything negative against people, but people love battle rap and like talking about like aggressive and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that when they're not going to do anything. And to me, it's only so long that I want to listen to that for. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man, I hear what you're saying. I think there's obviously an element of escapism in it as well. Do you know what I mean? But you can tell if someone's like about it or not. But
yeah, and not that I'm saying as well like, oh, if you're not real, like you're real, you're fake.
Yeah,
like,
I hear what you're saying.
He's hard. It's not even so much that, because even if someone is hard, and even if they are going to knock somebody out in the street, there's only been so many times like I can hear you talk about it, guys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. No, I hear what you're saying. At the end of the day, it's subjective, and you like what you like, and it kind of makes that's the artist you are as well. It's a reflection of kind of like your perceptions on things and what you enjoy. And it's I was going to say, man, like you talked about not being like a character, but obviously there's kind of an element of that with your alias and everything else. You know, you're very kind of colourful, very kind of you know, as I mentioned, you know, like just the clothes you wear and everything else. It's all very kind of like when you follow an artist. And this is just my personal opinion. You don't just buy into their music. So UK hip hop, for example, it's all like, oh, just about the bars, man. It's like, nah, like you buy into people's personalities as well. Do you know what I mean? And people's
100%. Now
characters.
more than ever, man. I think like it's the full product now more than ever. People don't like, as cringe as it might be and as wrong as it might be, people don't like how you look, or if people don't like how you present yourself, they're not going to even want to listen to you. Do you know what I mean? And I guess it should be, in a sense, it should be that way. Because if there's some ugly motherfucker rapping about how many girls he's got with, do you know what I mean? Like, it don't quite add up. So I do think that people want to buy into the whole it's you as a person, you know? And I think that even with me, even though I say about an alias or whatever, it isn't really an alias. It's just because I'm not going to rap and have my artist name as Josh Jarvis. That's the only difference. Is I don't want Josh Jarvis on my cover because it doesn't sound very artistic or whatever word you want to use. That's literally the only difference. Like other than that, there is no difference between me and as a rapper and me as a person. If there was, then for example, now like I'm doing this interview now, and my wife's in the other room doing whatever she's doing in the other room, but she can obviously hear. If I was like a complete fraud and I was trying to be a certain way, do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to do an interview about music or rapping with my wife in the house. I'd be like, oh, she might not like what I say. Do you know what I mean? She might not. Do you know what I mean? And it isn't actually a character with me. It's the one thing I do think when people throw around the word real, like, and it's like if you're real, like we were talking a second ago about music, and you said about if they're not really about it. To me, like that's not real. Isn't obviously going up to somebody in the street and robbing them or being able to fight. Real is literally that, isn't it? It's just if you're being yourself, like all you can be is yourself, really. And that's the one thing. I know I said it before, but that is the one thing I'm proud of about myself, man. Like I know that I've always been myself. I know that if anyone meets me or speaks to me or knows me and listens to my music, they can't say, why is he rapping in that accent? Why is he talking about that? Why is he doing that? That's one thing that I'll always be proud of, is I've always been very true to myself, you know?
Yeah, man, for real. I think I was going to ask you as well, obviously, now you're living over in LA. I know that you've got some stories. I know one of which on Instagram, you bumped into Nas in his restaurant.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that, like in America, obviously being in LA, and that you just don't know who you're going to bump into. I bet you've got a few stories like that, right?
Yeah. I don't know about the whole of America, but because obviously I live in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I do think that I do think that this is literally where they live. Like as crazy as it is, like this is where people live. It's where people move to. You know what I mean? Whether people are once they're trying to make it or whether they've made it, it is where people live. And I bumped into some crazy people. Like obviously Nas, Travis Barker. I saw coming out of a doctor's.
Oh, sick.
Went and spoke to him. Met Michael Caine. Yeah, like
what did you say to Michael Caine, man? Like, what do you say besides, oh, hello, Michael Caine?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's certain people you meet as well, and in this day and age, let's be honest about it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Let's be honest about it. We want a photo. We want a photo so we can post a photo and we can prove we met him and we can look back on that memory as well.
Yeah, man.
But with him, I didn't. You know what I mean, it's literally like it's the certain people you don't. But like when I met Nas, I'll tell you that story. Like when I met Nas, it was when I was coming over here back and forth. It was my last night here, and he co-owns a restaurant called Sweet Chick, which is actually recently they've opened one in London. And I went in. I went to Sweet Chick with my wife. She was my girlfriend at the time. On my last night here, and I've got a Nas t-shirt, a Nas Supreme t-shirt, and I hadn't worn it the whole time I was here. And I was thinking, is it proper cringe? Like if I wear his t-shirt to his restaurant, and I was like, fuck it, I'm a cringy guy. I'm gonna do it. So I walked in, and there was a couple that was in there on a double date, I presume. There's two blokes, two women, and I see him looking at me, and they were kind of like not smirking, but they're like kind of smiling. I was thinking, well, because I'm wearing a Nas t-shirt, do you think you could just fucking laugh at me or something? And then one of them was like, oh, I think they knew that I was like looking back at them as if to say like, what you like laughing at? And he's like, oh, you chose the right day to wear that t-shirt. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he like nodded at a glass door at the back of the restaurant. And he's like, he's in there. And I was like, you joking? And he's like, no, he's through there eating. So I sat down, and my wife says to me like about what you're having to drink or whatever, and I was thinking I can't fucking concentrate on what I'm going to have to drink or what I'm eating here. Like he's literally like 20 yards away. There's just that glass door is what separates us. I was thinking, oh no, like I can't bloody eat. Like I need to go in there. Like I need to go and address this. And I was sitting there and I weren't thinking straight. And luckily, it was only 5 minutes later, because otherwise I probably wouldn't have been able to eat. 5 minutes later, a massive bloke comes walking out, don't know if it's his mate or his security. I presume it's one of his friends because I don't know if he's going to have dinner with a security guard. But anyway, this big bloke walks out, then Nas walks out, and then his third mate walks out behind him. And they go out the back of the restaurant. Oh, earlier as well, when I first got in there in the first 5 minutes, I said to like a barman or the waiter or whatever, I said, the people like go and speak when he's here, like, and they're like, and the bloke said to me, to be honest, he only comes in there like once in a blue moon, like maybe once every year. And he said it's pretty much would recommend you don't go and speak to him, like he probably doesn't want to be bothered. So I thought, all right. Anyways, walked out and I was thinking, fuck what that guy said. Like I'm in the same place as Nas here. If I don't go and say something now, I'll just think, should I have? Not because I wanted to get anything out of it. I just wanted to meet him. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to achieve. I'm not trying to like get
man,
anything.
It's Nas, man. I would have done exactly the same thing.
Exactly, yeah. And people throw around the word legend, but that is literally a literal legend. So he walked out the back. And out of the back of the restaurant, he's obviously weren't leaving through the front. He goes out the back door, and I was like, fuck it. So I just got up. I walked out the back where I wasn't even supposed to be. I was like, Nas! And like, he's looked over his shoulder, and he's like nodded and carried on. And then he's double taked, and he's had another look. And he's like, oh, nice T-shirt. And I thought, oh, it's paid off. It's my T-shirt. It's paid off wearing it. And I was like, yeah, I'm a big fucking fan. I'm a big fan. I don't know why, but he turned around and he's like, oh, yeah, good to see that you're representing, or whatever it was. The whole conversation was a blur. But the sick thing was, I had my phone in my hand and I didn't even ask. I didn't even ask him for a photo. It's like, what, do you want a picture? And I was like, oh, yeah, if you don't mind. His friend took it. His friend was like, oh, the lighting isn't very good here. Let's go the other way. And we turned around so he could take it. And they were so safe. Like, he was so down to earth. I say down to earth. He had that aura about him that I'd want him to have. Do you know what I mean? He had an aura that I wanted him to have, but he was well safe. We literally took the photo, and I spoke to him about, I don't know how many times I mentioned Illmatic in that 30 seconds. It felt like I spoke to him for 10 minutes, but it was probably like 30 seconds. And they walked off. Whilst they walked off, I was still talking like, hey, Nas. But anyway. That was that story, man. And I come back. Even all the staff in there, they were proper chuffed for me. They were like, "Oh, you just did it anyway." That's
round of applause.
Yeah. And I could finally go back and actually eat.
But the appetite came back after that, man. No, fair play. It's good to hear that he wasn't a dick and he was like accommodating. And the stars aligned, man. The rap gods were shining upon you when you put that T-shirt on.
That's it. Fucking sick memory, man. Sick memory. It's not just any old Tom, Dick and Harry I met in the street, you know. Like, I have met some cool people, like ASAP Nast I met the first time I ever came over here, and I recognised him, and he was well alright as well. I spoke to him for a few minutes, and he asked me whereabouts in England I live and that, because I think the whole ASAP mob, ASAP Rocky, he possibly lives in London, I think. I'm not sure, but I know they love the UK. Everyone seems to love the UK now, man. Even when you see fashion and stuff, Stone Island, Burberry and all of that, it's all very prominent over here now.
I was going to say, man, I mean, your streetwear collection must be worth a few quid. Like, how long have you been collecting for?
From as young as I can remember, man. When I was a kid and I'd ask for money for my birthday, and I'd put whatever money I could get together and I'd buy one item of clothing. Rather than getting little things or whatever, I'd try and buy something that I love, which I'll still have years later. And even when I first started working, when I was like 16 and I could go to work, like I just spent my money on clothes and trainers and saving up to get whatever I could. And that is it's a real passion of mine, clothes. I think... I don't know. I literally been collecting like without even realising I was collecting, because I was buying stuff when I was, like I say, in the earlier years, and I've still got it all now. I've literally still got it all now. Even some of the wrestling T-shirts that I wear, some of them are like mine or my brother's from the 90s, literally from the 90s. And because I used to wear them baggy, it literally suits me. They still fit, you know. But I couldn't put a year on it. But I'd say literally my whole life, man. Because obviously fashion goes in circles as well. I hate the word fashion, but I guess it's the only word that you could use. It comes around and goes around, and with the stuff that I buy, especially the age well, I say the age I'm at, my whole life really, I've never really changed what I liked. So what I liked 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it's the shit that I'd still wear now.
It's mad, isn't it? How things come around in cycles. Like I look on like Depop, and there's this like an Umbro sweatshirt I had probably when I was 8 years old, and it's going for like silly money, and I'm like, what?
Crazy, isn't it?
What the fuck's that about?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's cool that you've got like a genuine passion for it. Do you ever like resell anything, or do you just keep it all?
I've never bought anything to resell it ever. I don't want to start talking about killing the culture and all that generic shit.
Man. It's just...
But it does play a part in it, you know. Like, I don't blame people. If you can buy a pair of trainers for 130 quid and sell them for 800, then you're silly not to if you get that opportunity, I guess. But at the same time, this is me obviously being stupid. All my mates, people that are watching this would think, what an idiot. Like, what a fucking moron. But if I was to get said pair of trainers, I would keep them, because whatever money you can get could come and go, like, if that makes any sense. But if I'm still wearing them trainers in 5 years, then...
But it's like anything, isn't it? It's like people who collect, like, fine art collectors, man. You know, obviously we're talking stupid money, but it's the same principle, isn't it? It's like if you
Pokemon
collect
cards.
Yeah, exactly, man. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I guess.
Go on, sorry.
No, crack on, man.
No, I was going to just say, like, I have sold bits in the past and whatever, and there's obviously things that I've traded and whatnot, especially over here. Like, there's so many like trading shops and so many sick things. Like, shopping in LA is not like shopping in Southend. Do you know what I mean? I can go to a shop and see things that I could only dream of being able to afford. Like, which are, obviously it's the same as everybody. Obviously, everybody, there's always going to be something that you want. But I have traded and sold stuff and that before, but primarily I don't buy it to sell it. Do you know what I mean? I don't buy stuff to sell it. It's only if I don't like how it fits or how it sits on me, or if I feel like I've had enough wear out of it or whatnot. But I remember, I hate even talking about this brand now, because it's obviously become so cliche, Supreme. But I remember going into the shop and buying what I wanted. I remember walking in there prior to even having to line up. I remember going in there and buying what I wanted years and years ago. And then I also remember the next stage when you'd go and I'd have to get the first train from London at like R5, 6 in the morning to get up there, to get in the line, to hopefully get in the shop. And then I remember the next stage when you then go there, and even though you was in a line, a security guard would randomly pick somebody out of the line to go in, and you'd have to just hope the security guard picked you. And then the next stage, which is now the current stage, which is just fucked up, is you have to apply for a raffle ticket for a time slot. So if you win that raffle, you can then go and get in line at the allocated time, so you can get whatever you want. So yeah, even buying something now, a t-shirt, a hoodie, a jacket, a hat, whatever it may be, even that now, do you know what I mean? Nothing's a given anymore.
It's that kind of selective process, you know, the kind of exclusivity of it is like the genius in its marketing, though, isn't it? You know, that's what they've capitalized on.
Find desirable, isn't it? If you can look at something and see it 1 minute past 11 that it's sold out already, people kind of want what they can't have, I guess. And again, I say, obviously people are very impressionable as well, so once you see certain people wearing it, I think like with Supreme, when they did that collaboration with Louis Vuitton, and Louis Vuitton started sending the stuff out to certain celebrities, and them certain celebrities are people that never previously wore like streetwear, and I think you're seeing certain people like wearing that Louis Vuitton Supreme, and people were made aware of it. And I think that was kind of when it went very, very, like, footballers, for example, started wearing it, and now there's like 11-year-old kids that obviously would be putting it on their Christmas lists and stuff, which is obviously, it happens, doesn't it? Things get bigger. I'm not one of those people that like, oh, I wish it was underground, or I wish it was, because at the end of the day, it's a clothing brand. I don't really care that much. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But at the same time, yeah. That's it.
Yeah, man. But I mean, it's certainly not kind of, you know,
sipping out of an empty glass right now, guys.
Yeah, same, man. We'll wrap things up anyway, man. But before we do, is there anything you want to plug? besides obviously the new project that's just dropped, or is there anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, the new normal video is coming out on Friday the 13th. Friday the 12th, sorry. So I don't know if anyone's seen that. Yeah, look, my wife, she heard me talk about water. She's been trained well.
Oh, come
I'm
on,
only
man.
joking. I'm only joking. I get whipped for that.
Where's my wife? Empty glass as well, mate. Yeah, not as, obviously don't have as good a hearing, but yeah, man.
But yeah, no, the new normal video's out now. Versus Bang, obviously, if you type it in to any streaming platform, I'm sure you plug all this shit anyway. If anyone has a look and listens to it, hopefully they like it. I would say that I'm another thing I do. I would say about myself is I don't think I sound like nobody else. You can listen to certain rappers. I'm having a photo taken of me right now. There's only so many rappers that I think you can't say sounds like anyone else. And I don't think that you could really compare my sound. Not saying that I'm the world's greatest, but I am the fucking world's greatest. I don't sound like anybody. I don't think.
That's what the caption's going to say, man. The world's greatest.
Yeah. Just free R. Kelly. Only joking. He should rot. He should rot. But yeah, I think that if you want to try and listen to something a little bit different, give it a whirl. Because I don't think I sound like anyone else. And the production, obviously, from Oozhe, he sends me beats to choose from, and I do like to try and choose beats that other people wouldn't use. The new normal beat, the title track, for example, that's not, you can't really call that US or UK hip hop. I don't think. I don't know what it is, but I fucking like it. Yeah, give it a listen. And the only other comment, and this is the caption you should use. If you're a frequent user of the YouTube dislike button, there's a 99% chance that you don't have sex very often.
I'll rate that, man. I can't say I know what you're referring to or alluding to, but tell me afterwards.
It ain't even with me. It ain't even about anyone directly or personally. It's not like I get hundreds of thousands of dislikes because I don't get hundreds of thousands of views. It's not that. It's just the general concept of someone using a YouTube dislike button to go out of their way to try and spread that little negativity that I don't like that. My point is, if you use the dislike button, it must have been a while since you had sex. It must have been a while since you had sex, guys. You need to release that tension. You need to release that tension and stick away from the negativity.
All right, man. I'll use that caption. I definitely won't say Versus Bang says free R. Kelly on the caption. No problem at all, man.
I was only at one or two of his parties, and they was all above age. I promise.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But no, thanks again for chatting, man. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No worries. Wait. One other thing as well, because it's only right that I say this, because we said about people that don't want to show any love a lot and people that spread negativity. I also want to mention, because you was already following me at the time and I never realised, but I got a random message once from George Bucks. It's George Bucks, isn't it? Is that what he goes?
Yeah, man. He goes just by Bucks now, but it was George Bucks, yeah.
Right, yeah. He sent me a message randomly one day, and he said to me, "If you watched that Shotgun The Aux," and I said to him, "Oh, I saw you was on there a week or two ago, and whatever." And he was like, "Oh, I think you should be a guest on there. He said about meeting Nas, and he said you've got some crazy stories from America. I reckon you'd make a good guest." And I just wanted to acknowledge that because he didn't have to send me that message. And obviously, even though you ended up contacting me and we ended up speaking anyway after that, he still said that to me. And people might just want to try and keep an opportunity or whatever it is for himself. But he actually messaged me and said that he thought it'd be good. And I remember that because me and him don't know each other. Do you know what I mean? It's not like we're like super close friends. So I thought that was proper decent of him to have even said that. So he's the one that first told me about yourself and your channel. So big up to him as well.
Yeah, shouts to Bucks, man. No, that's a really nice sentiment to end on, man. But thank you, man. Thanks again for the chat. But we've been Shotgun The Aux podcast on all platforms. I'll make sure that I plug and include all the links to the EP in the description on the video as well. But yeah, stay safe, man. It's been great catching up with you finally.
You too, mate.
Maybe in person one day, in a when the dust settles and
That's it. We'll meet you at Hell in the Cell 2024.
Fuck yes. All right, brother. You take care.